What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Kory Willis. I hope you all are having a great Friday, getting ready for a week 5 in the college football season. So, hope you guys are wrapping up everything during the work week and getting ready to, kick back and relax and watch some good college football this weekend. We got a lot of great games: Georgia, Alabama, and Illinois, Penn State. Just a slew of great games. So yeah, hope you guys are doing well on a Friday. As always, guys, we appreciate you all listening in to the show. Just know we're on many different streaming platforms out there, so feel free to follow us and subscribe to the show on all of your favorite podcast applications. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, and many other streaming platforms out there. So, like I said, we appreciate you all listening to the show. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us know what we're doing and how we can improve the show for the future for you all. So, as always, we very much appreciate you guys' support. As always, you know who I'm with. I am with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, my man?
What's going on, Kory? I almost didn't do the show today. the NIL collective, they running short on the checks. They out here selling lies, just empty promises, but it's all good though. We're gonna get that rectified and resolved.
Look, man, we got empty promises. Look, you going through Hurricane Helene right now. Look, you need them NIL checks. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
you trying to take care of your own now.
I got a family to feed.
Yeah.
Come on now. I need the collective to get it together.
Oh man. Well, yeah, man. It's been a crazy week in college football. I know your way has been a crazy week with the weather. I hope you're doing well, staying safe.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. We're definitely gonna be praying for you and everyone out there in the state of Florida. So, and also for our fans as well. Definitely will be at you guys' side through the storm. Hope it wears off soon. But yeah, man, it's in terms of college football news, it's been definitely a whirlwind. Like the last 24 going on 48 hours. It's been rough.
It's been something else. We got some news we weren't anticipating. It was just a week ago, man, everything was all good in Vegas. UNLV was on top of the college football world, out here get ranked for the first time in years, and now we got a bombshell coming out of Vegas.
Yes, we do. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been lying under a rock the past couple of days, UNLV's, former starting quarterback Matthew Sluka has left UNLV over a $100K NIL dispute that apparently he did not get, Chris. He put it in pretty much a tweet, talking about the whole deal, the whole ordeal that happened there at UNLV, and him and his family just decided, you know what? I think it's time to dip. Peace. We out.
Yeah.
And you're 3-0.
3-0. 23rd by the coaches poll.
Yeah.
Still, he said it's been fun. GG's.
Oh man, this is crazy, Chris. I mean, what do you take of what do you make of all of this? Because no one envisioned something like this to happen, and I mean, we'll get into what this has done for the rest of the sport as well, because there's been a couple of other players that have decided to follow suit, and I am sure there's going to be more. But what is your take on this, Chris? Because this is like we've never seen anything like this before.
Yeah, we haven't. This is insane. But it was bound to happen, Kory. As soon as NIL was introduced, um, there was going to be a day where disputes happen, and here we are. It's taking place with UNLV. The starting quarterback. It seems when you read up on this situation that it was a verbal agreement from an assistant coach on the staff to get for this 100K. It was nothing written or signed upon from the collective with of NIL with the university or anything, pen to paper, anything like that. The school says the NIL payments have been made on time and have been met. And it seems like my boy said today's price ain't yesterday's price. So the price of the brick that went up. So hey, that's crazy to have that happen in the middle of the season. Now I don't know if that happened and the coach was just trying to appease them and say, "Don't worry, we're gonna get you 100K and figure that out as the process continues." But oh boy, this is it's college football for you. It's college football for you. This is the new age college football. I will say this though: if this was SMU in the '80s, he'd still be playing.
Oh yeah.
The checks would have got cleared. They would have made sure to get my boy his money at SMU.
Oh man, they were gonna find a way, man. You talk about McDonald's bags filled with 10 G's in there. I'm talking about, man. You would have had Chili's bags with like 20 G's and a side of chicken wings, man. It would have been ridiculous out here on the streets.
Oh yeah. They would have found a way. The Pony Express always comes through. So, but in all seriousness, though, Kory, this is just a byproduct of college football in 2024. Once the NIL was introduced to the game, it was only a matter of time before some kind of dispute happened. It's just crazy to see it play out in the middle of the season, and someone be like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna go ahead and take a seat. I'm just not gonna play." You're starting quarterback at that.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate and just unprecedented as well, Chris. Like I mentioned, we've never seen anything crazy happen like this, probably in the history of college football. And when you have something like NIL created for these student athletes, it just muddies things even more. I think, and I've had a little time to process this through. It's not that we never wanted the players to, receive what they deserved or earned. I mean, you hear right now, people like Reggie Bush is going after USC for back NIL. And we know what Reggie meant to the game of college football and USC as a whole. Those things are important for every student athlete that's, given their all to their university during their time there. When you look at this situation, you look and see how NIL has, changed the landscape of college football. It's great, but it also creates its issues, such as this one. And I'm not gonna lie, I definitely look at the universities And, a little bit of the NCAA for, this being pretty much the consequences of not figuring these things out years and years ahead of time. Like, this is where we're at now, where we have schools, whether it is the school or like a third party. I mean, we always hear about, like your local car dealership, going out making these NIL deals, Chris. You hear the schools working with maybe third parties or doing something themselves, with the collective of these colleges, to give these students a chance to use their NIL in the way that they see fit. The thing about it is where's the documentation of all of this?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. I know what myself. I miss the old days, Kory.
Yeah.
Bring back the bag man. This wasn't happening under the bag man's watch. You gonna get your money when you got the bag man. When paying players was cheating, when it was against the rules, there was code and decorum principles that was followed, and you got your money on time. On the 5th and the 20th, everybody was taken care of. Bring back those days.
Yeah, I was listening to Bomani Jones and Rich Eisen talk about all of this, and Bomani was like, well, yeah, you had the whole McDonald's bag, with the money and all that stuff, but at least those times were fun. They were illegal in the terms of the NCAA, but at least these were fun. At least you had to finagle your way to win. This is just like openly being like, we're going to spend $20 million on like 5-star quarterbacks, and we're going to get all of them. Things like that. Like, come on now.
It's insane. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. It was a better time, but this is the reality we're in, and we're going to see situations like this take place. This is not going to be he isn't the only one. As we've seen, Bear Alexander, he said, hold on now. I don't like what's going on either out here at SC. It ain't just in Vegas.
Yeah, he decided to dip. Michael Allen, which he was one of the running backs for UNLV. He had 19 carries for just 108 yards this season so far. He decided to leave shortly right after Sluka left. So this has created like a precedent now. Creed Whitmore. We know Creed Whitmore from Mississippi State. It was announced just yesterday. Well, depending on when you're listening to this show, we're recording this on a Thursday evening. But on Wednesday, it was it was announced late Wednesday evening that he decided to redshirt. And I mean, you can put two and two together, knowing how crazy this week has been. That these guys are leaving for nothing but NIL. Like a lot of people will probably promise a lot of different things, and a lot of this stuff that was in the dark is now coming out to the light.
Yeah, it's we're seeing some what's it called on the new EA. You want to talk about dynasty mode?
Yeah.
The deal breakers.
Oh yeah, this
deal breakers.
we definitely look. Everybody like got the little deal breaker logo right by their name. Like, man, look, if I don't see 10 G's in my bank account by Monday,
we seeing some deal breakers getting broken. The brand exposure grade, it got to be a B minus. You see some C minuses out here.
Oh man, this is rough, man. People's letter grades going down quickly.
Name ain't real. Hey, it's looking real to me because it's happening right now.
Hey man, look, if all these schools start blaming it on this video game, man, we're gonna have some problems now. We can't be going back to square one again.
Right now,
A little bit too accurate.
It's a little too accurate right now.
Oh,
these deal breakers. But yeah, it's a crazy time right now, and the NCAA, they're gonna have to try to figure out how to navigate this real soon. It ain't good for the game.
No,
this ain't good for the game at all.
Not at all, man. It's definitely creating a precedent that somebody has to step in. I mean, look, we've already had Supreme Court, make their rulings on NIL and pretty much embarrass the NCAA in front of the whole world to see. So, I mean, is it possible that they could come in to, have the NCAA strengthen some of these things? Maybe, but, states govern themselves. Every school's for themselves now, as we can tell, Chris.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we're going to keep our eyes tuned on how all this continues to play out. The football fan, the college football fan in me hates it for a school like UNLV.
Yeah.
They really have something cooking, and hopefully their backup quarterback can come in, keep things rolling, and his team can, dig deep, stay tight, stay together, and continue to have a special season. I would hate to see their season derailed because of a situation like this. But we're going to learn a lot about the Rebels.
Yeah, we will. And on Saturday, they have a game at home against Fresno State. So that should be a interesting ball game that I'm definitely going to be watching on FS1.
That mug might be sold out. Like, it's going to be a lot of people, in attendance for this one already because of how well the team is playing. But I think this might be the talk of the city, and that's saying something for Vegas.
Yeah, it may be. It may be. I'm looking right now. They say tickets as low as $40. I don't believe that one bit. I don't believe that one bit.
Hey, as low as 40, shoot, that's a little higher than I expected. We ain't known UNLV for being a football school, so 40, that's the lowest ticket. They done came up a little bit out there.
Yeah. So I know if you're a UNLV fan, I know this is unfortunate, but yeah, I think if you're interested in going to the game or you're going to the game, be sure to let us know what are your thoughts about this whole situation, and what are your thoughts about the season going forward. But yeah, man, this is unprecedented times in college football, Chris. But things are going to keep moving within the world of college football overall. So we'll definitely keep it locked here and kind of see how everything else goes throughout the country and with UNLV. But yeah, man. Anything else, Chris? You want to talk about this topic before we move on to some of the games of the week?
No, we're good to go. I think we've covered this pretty well, and it's time to talk about what we really want to talk about, which is the games on the field.
Yes, the actual games, not the games off the field. We know exactly what those are. Oh man, but yeah, man, let's go ahead and get to. We got a couple of big games on the slate. Probably the biggest game yet of this season. There'll be a ton of more games that will have a lot of playoff discussion talk, I guess you I could say this season. But Georgia traveling to Tuscaloosa, Chris, to take on the Crimson Tide. This is going to be a big game in the SEC. Two heavyweights clashing in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So, man, this is a game that I'm ready for. A lot of people around the country are talking about this game as well. Georgia is a 2.5-point favorite to win this game, Chris. So, right now in Vegas, they have Georgia winning the game, but, they're not, totally ruling out Alabama in this game as well because, they are playing at home. So, that does give them a little bit of the edge. But funny thing to note before I kind of get your thoughts on this game, the matchup predictor that ESPN uses their analytics technology to kind of see where each team stands. Alabama has a 65.8% chance to win over Georgia's 34.2% chance. So that's interesting, and that probably does kind of correlate with just a little bit of what Vegas is saying. Like if they feel like Georgia's going to win, they don't feel like they're going to win by much because Alabama's at home, and I'm thinking that's where ESPN is definitely kind of getting in that feeling of them controlling this ball game, and they actually have the upper edge because they're going to be at home. I think Caden Proctor, last time I heard, he should be back this week. So it's going to be interesting to see what this Tide team can do offensively against this Georgia D. But overall, Chris, what are your thoughts about this game? Because this is definitely going to be a big game that everybody's going to be tuning in.
Yeah, so this is going to be a battle. This is going to be should be a great game. This is the first high profile ABC SEC on ABC matchup. We're getting two top 5 teams, Georgia and Bama, on ABC at late night prime times. 7:30, 6:30 Central. It's a big time matchup right here. And no matter if they meet up in the SEC championship or the playoffs again, it's still a big matchup right here. So I'll be tuned in. The whole world will be watching. And I think Georgia, after going on the road, having a little bit of a stinker, you would say, against Kentucky. And Kentucky always plays Georgia tough. So they've actually played Georgia tougher than you could say almost any school in the SEC the last few years. Those games have been real low scoring, been a lot of grind them out games. I think Georgia getting that game under their belt, finding a way to win on the road, will pay dividends in this matchup. Now, of course, Alabama's talent level is on another level than in Kentucky. It's on the same level as a Georgia. These teams have recruited very evenly. Like almost the same amount of 5 stars, 4 stars, and 3 stars on the respected rosters across the board. And I just think Georgia, under Kirby Smart's leadership, will be a more disciplined team on the field. I think Kellen DeBoer, he's a great coach in his own right, but I trust Kirby and what he brings to the table more in this matchup. Jalen Milroe hasn't seen anything like this defense that he will see on Saturday. He might not see anything like it going forward. Georgia's defense is the real deal. Yeah, Dark is the truth out there in safety for Georgia. Just an absolute ball hawk. We'll see for Georgia if Mykel Williams can go. He's listed as questionable. I think he's going to give it a go. If Michael can be Michael, he will be a difference maker in this game. If he is his normal, healthy self and can have the impact that he can have on the field for Georgia. Um, just a menace of a pass rusher and someone that they will need to contain Jalen Milroe because we already know the weapon he is with his legs. So um, I'm gonna go. I'm leaning towards Georgia. Uh, we have our concerns about Bama just on some of the things we've seen, especially that South Florida game. And I don't think they were truly tested that Wisconsin game with Tyler Van Dyke being injured that first drive. So I think this is going to be a significant step up for Alabama, and I'm curious to see how the guys handle that. Um, and I think Georgia's defense is going to commit themselves to strapping up Ryan Williams. He's proven himself to be Alabama's best playmaker at receiver. I think they're going to put the clamps on them and force other guys to beat them, and we'll see if they can. But I just tend to lean towards Georgia in this matchup. I think they're a more complete team, and I have less questions about Georgia despite what many people call the stinker, that game they had against Kentucky.
Yeah, it's after a game like that against Kentucky, as what you said, Chris, they played Georgia probably the best that anybody's played them all season yet. I do believe Kirby has figured out some things in the bye week to kind of get them prepared for this Alabama offense with Milroe and, as you mentioned, Ryan Williams, who's just been racking it up in the SEC at the receiver position. So it's it's going to be a great matchup, great chess match to see what Georgia can do to maybe slow down Milroe and Williams as well. You can't forget about Jam Miller. I mean, like when he breaks a run, he's off the races. So it's definitely going to start at the trenches. I know you mentioned Michael Williams. We'll see what he can do defensively for that Georgia front on defense. They're definitely going to have to. I know it's always cliche when people always say set the edge, of course, in games, but that's definitely what they're going to have to do in order to stop this Alabama offense. And can they do it? I think Kirby knows that they're going to have to really showcase that talent on the field this week if they want to stop this Alabama offense. But and I think that they can do it, of course. So I am looking at Georgia winning this ball game. I don't think they're going to knock out Alabama just with a straight clean right
hook. Straight right.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Ain't gonna be no Dubois knocking out Anthony Joshua this weekend.
None of that. Now, if they were playing between the hedges, I would say that there may be a chance. But this game in Tuscaloosa, the crowd's gonna be pumped out there in T-Town. And I think DeBoer's he has to coach one of his best games yet as the head coach of the Crimson Tide. So I don't think he's going to have this team just unmotivated because they also had a bye week themselves over the past week. So I do think they'll be ready for the challenge as well. But I think overall I'm picking Georgia to win this ball game, and I'll take that 2.5 that Vegas has them on the line right now.
Yeah, I think the Dogs will get the win too. I think we saw Carson Beck missed some throws that he wouldn't normally miss in that Kentucky game. I think he's going to come out ready to execute. Look for look for Georgia to get Carson back going early. Try to get him some easy throws and get him in rhythm very quickly because I think that's going to open things up for this Georgia offense a lot. And I expect him to want to open this offense up more. You know, of course, Georgia's going to run the football and ball control, punch you in the mouth, but I think they want to open things up and try to get this hyped up crowd in T-Town to try to quiet them down a little bit.
Yeah, nah, I agree with you. So yeah, man, it should be a great matchup. I can't wait to watch this game, and yeah, man, we're definitely going to be talking about it during the evening as we're watching it. But yeah, man, anything else you want to add before we move on from this game?
I will add just very quickly on for Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jalen Milroe has continued to develop and play better and better. I think this is a game where we're going to need to see him have a complete game all 4 quarters. And I think he has what it takes. He's a very gifted player. You know, he has the cannon of an arm and has just a dynamic ball carrier. You know, when he gets in the open field, like just watch out. So I'm very curious to see how he plays in this game because, of course, Bama is at home. Bama has a bunch of great players as well. It's not outside the realm of possibilities that Bama wins this game. I'm gonna pick Georgia to win, but if Bama does win, don't be shocked that Jalen Milroe just showed that he's this guy. He is that guy in this game because that's the kind of performance they're going to need from him for them to win this game. So just want to throw that out there, like Milroe might have his flaws, but I think he's a legit playmaker, dynamic player, top tier athlete, and those guys sometimes you just stop them. And if he has one of those games, Bama very well, be going home happy and get the win.
No, you're right, man. You're right. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I am intrigued by this game being in Tuscaloosa because while I am looking at Georgia winning the ball game, it's not out of the realm of possibility that a couple plays Alabama can be ahead in this ball game and actually take out Georgia. And I mean, it does start with Milroe and being the dual threat that he is out there definitely gives Alabama that chance of controlling this ball game. So I'm I'm not going to push them off the wayside either in this ball game either.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's play calls that you might scheme up on a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8
Mm-hmm.
that you can't necessarily call in this game because of what Milroe can do. You might have to keep a guy spying and not in coverage, just spying Milroe. And even him, even that spy, he might not be able to keep up with Milroe. He run past the spy and still get the first. So
yeah,
it's Kirby's defense will be challenged in this matchup. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'll be keeping a keen eye for is what plays, what is the go-to for Georgia on a 3rd and long whenever, when with Milroe, how do you keep him from getting the first? Because he just always presents that threat with his legs. And before you know it, he's picked up 6 yards just like that.
Right. Yeah, and knowing Kirby, being the aggressive play caller he is on defense, he can't be too aggressive because a guy like Milroe he could see that spot that out from a mile away and take off running. And there you go. Your spies are all out of whack and can't really get in position to make the tackle on a guy that's quick like Milroe. So it's going to be interesting to see how Georgia dials up their defense against this Bama offense. So I can't wait. It should be a fun game.
I can't wait either. Yeah. I'm gonna give you the score prediction, dogs. 31-27.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Georgia 35, Alabama 27.
All right.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think we're kind of we're pretty much on the same level in terms of how this game is gonna go. So I can't wait, man. It should be a fun game, indeed. But man, anything else you want to mention, Chris, about this game before we move on?
No, sir. We can keep it pushing.
All right, man. All right. Well, that's going to be a great game. 6:30 on ABC. All right, next game for you all on today's show. We have Oklahoma State traveling to take on Kansas State. This is going to be a interesting game, Chris. Two teams that had like pretty disappointing losses last week, looking to bounce back. Somebody has to bounce back.
Yeah, somebody's going to take another L.
Yeah.
A second conference L at that.
I'm glad that you mentioned it because look. I don't want to tee off any of the fan bases, but let's be honest. This is a big matchup for both teams. Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. But ranked on ranked matchup, Chris. We had Alan Bowman last week, which he just this offense is just dreadful right now for Oklahoma State. They're gonna need a lot from Bowman if they want to win this ball game. Avery Johnson last week. I mean, BYU. We saw how the way BYU victimized K-State. Avery Johnson, he's gonna have to come out and have a bounce back game just as much as Bowman is. So let's not even get started on the two running backs in this game with Giddens and Ollie Gordon the second. So it's gonna be interesting, man. I don't know. I'm leaning towards Kansas State, I guess, in this ball game to win it, because I think why they lost against BYU. They lost against a really good BYU team, and going to Provo is not easy. I've seen it years ago. At night, it's not easy playing that team at their field. So I'm leaning towards Kansas State to bounce back. To figure out some things and to keep it rolling there in Manhattan. So let's look at Vegas's odds right now. Yeah, Vegas has Kansas State as a 4.5 point favorite. So they're pretty bullish on the Wildcats as well. So yeah, I'm gonna take Kansas State to win this ball game, Chris. What are your thoughts about this game overall, and who's your favorite to win this game?
Yeah, like both of these teams are desperate. They need the win. I think Kansas State. I really trust the staff. I think they're going to have these guys ready for this matchup. I think Avery Johnson's going to have a bounce back game and do damage with his arm. Not only his legs, I think he's going to have to pass the ball around and throw for at least 225, 230, and make a difference. As a passing quarterback in this one. and I think he will. Um, Oklahoma State, the fact that Ollie Gordon cannot get going, I don't think he's going to find his groove against this Kansas State defense. They struggled against BYU, but I think K State will have a bounce back game. I think they'll scheme together. I think that the scheme will call on Bowman to be the guy to beat them, and I think that favors K State as the home team. And I think they will pull away. I think Oklahoma State has some flaws. We've seen even in victory, they showed flaws to that Arkansas game. Um, and I think they should have lost that game. I just have more questions about Oklahoma State than I do Kansas State, and I have more trust in Kansas State's staff, like I mentioned to start. So I think Kansas State, and also being at home, I think they'll win this game by a couple of touchdowns. It's going to be close initially, but I think K State wins by 14 when it's all said and done. I'm going to say 31-17 K State.
Okay. Um, yeah, I'm 31-17. I'll lean with you on that one. I think I'm not saying Oklahoma State is going to just give up. I think they're going to have to figure out something. Bowman Company is going to have to figure out something to air the ball out, try to get Ollie Gordon a couple of touches, but I will agree with you on this one, Chris. I do think with that front seven for K-State is going to give Ollie Gordon a lot of fits. And I don't think it's going to be I think it's going to be too much for him to muster up some offense for the Cowboys. So I think they'll be competitive in the first half, but by that second half, I think K-State is going to start running away with it. And like once Avery Johnson kind of settles down and the offense kind of settles down, they're going to make sure that they can put the game away safely down there in Manhattan. But I'm going to lean with you on that one. I just think they're going to be too much for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm with you. And we don't say it to say it's impossible that Oklahoma State has no shot of winning. Of course, they have they have as good of chance as at winning this game as Kansas State, but just there's just a few more check marks that I think I'll give to Kansas State than to Oklahoma State. So ultimately, I just gotta side with the Wildcats to come away with the victory. And it's hard to see a Kansas State team losing at home, fresh off a loss on the road. Man, they got to find a way to get right, don't they, Kory? That's just logic, right?
I think so, man. As long as we've watched Kansas State games, rarely they don't lose twice in a row like that. Barring just a dud of a season. But this isn't a team with like less talent. This is a really talented football team. That went to Provo last week and got humbled. That happens. So
that's Big 12 football.
Yeah.
And any week, you liable to get beat.
Exactly. So, I really look at this K-State club, and I think, they have all the tools to go out and figure out some things that they kind of missed last week to really come back and win big at home. So I think the ball is in their court. I don't see a threat right now for OSU that K-State should be too much worried about. And that's saying something. I mean, when you have one of the best running backs in college football has been pretty much regressing since the start of the season, and just your offense has been regressing. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you, Kory. So we'll get our answers here. 12 o'clock Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central, early in the day. We're going to
Hmm.
find out who will bounce back and who will keep their Big 12 championship hopes alive. Because I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a hard hole to get out of, to dig yourself out of. Going down 0-2 in conference play in your first two games, man. That's tough,
Yeah.
real tough.
No. You're right, man. Whoever goes down 0-2 in conference play, man, either or, they're gonna have to have a big set of soul searching going forward if they even want to make anything out of this season. So we'll see what happens. Like you mentioned, it is a 11 a.m. kickoff. So that's going to be one of those early games that we're definitely going to tap into and see who's going to come out as the big dog of this matchup. So yeah, man. Anything else about this game, Chris? You want to add before we move on?
Nah, I think we covered it. Keep it going to another good matchup.
All right. Well, from Manhattan, Kansas, we will now head to Notre Dame, Chris, where number 16, Fighting Irish, will host number 15, Louisville. The Cardinals are coming to town. So, yeah, this is going to be a really interesting ball game between both of these teams. Notre Dame has started to figure out some things after a few weeks ago losing that game against Northern Illinois. They're looking to bring in a interesting team in Louisville, a team that I love watching. I think Tyler Show and a lot of these guys are really going to showcase a lot on the field this Saturday. But they're bringing they're hosting a really good ball club in Louisville, Chris. They're 3-0 in the ACC. And I think overall this is going to be a big matchup for Notre Dame, a big test that Notre Dame's going to need if they even want to try to entice people out there, the college football committee, that they are still one of the 12 best teams in college football. So right now, the Vegas line has Notre Dame as a 4.5-point favorite to win that game. So I know a little bit of that triggers in with them being at home. And that is reasonable. So I just want to see what Notre Dame can do this coming Saturday. I mean, Riley Leonard, he's starting to kind of settle in a little bit more. I mean, you beat Purdue 66-7, and then you had a little bit of a tussle with Miami of Ohio. I mean, we talk about Max and Chris all day, but 28-3, you still get the W. That's good enough. But yeah, I really want to see what Riley Leonard can do against this Louisville team. And I can't wait to see what happens. Can he really step up against this Louisville Cardinals defense? Who they do swarm and make plays. I have seen a couple of Louisville games this year. They have some guys that go out there and make some plays on the ball field. So what are your thoughts about this game, Chris? Because this could be a sleeper game of the week.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's been a lot of talk in Notre Dame circles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how plugged into Notre Dame Twitter you are, Kory, but Riley Leonard and his play, the way he's been not playing well, he hasn't looked like the guy that they thought they got when he originally committed to them, coming to them out the portal.
Mm-hmm.
He's had his struggles, and he's been turning the ball over. He ain't been passing it well. 587 yards, 1 touchdown pass, 2 interceptions. This ain't the guy that they thought they got. This isn't the Riley Leonard we were anticipating coming from Duke. So he needs to have a big game. And if they lose this game, you're going to hear some groans and some people calling for another quarterback. As I told you at the beginning, in the preseason, that this is a really talented quarterback room.
Mm-hmm.
And if Riley Leonard keeps playing like he is, you're going to hear a lot more Notre Dame fans like, look, something's got to change. And Louisville's defense could be the change for Notre Dame. They have a legit defense that swarms, like you said. And this will be an interesting matchup. I don't know to say back up in the car and close your seatbelt. They'll lock you in and make sure you get home safe. Notre Dame will strap you up. Now they're going up against some I think is a very talented wide receiver. Many Alabama fans might be familiar with this game.
Mm-hmm.
We got Brooks, who's a senior, transferred to Louisville. IMG Academy's finest out of Bradenton. So we'll see. That will be a very interesting matchup. The secondary going up against him because he's having a good season. 17 receptions, nearly 300 receiving yards, and 2 TDs. He's been playing very well for the Cardinals and has been that number one receiver in Coach Brom's offense that's been there, a reliable playmaker. I think this could be a big game for him. Someone who has that pedigree coming out of high school, who's a very talented player. It just took him a little time to come into his own.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm leaning toward the Cardinals. Louisville put a thumping on Notre Dame last year. They absolutely embarrassed Notre Dame. I know Notre Dame has not forgotten about that, but I think the Cardinals are really like how Coach Brom and his staff game plan. I just like Coach Brom. I think there is a legitimate coaching edge, like a whole letter grade between Coach Brom and his staff and Coach Freeman and his staff at Notre Dame. Notre Dame has had stinkers, real stinkers, against teams they had no business losing to. You might try to play up for a game like this and get yourself psyched up, and you probably will be on your P's and Q's for this matchup. But this is what Louisville does week in and week out. They maximize their guys. This Louisville team isn't as talented as Notre Dame's team, but I trust this staff. And I think these guys are going to go in feeling confident, especially after the whooping they put on Notre Dame last year. And I expect Louisville to leave South Bend with the win.
Yeah, I'm looking for Louisville to leave South Bend also with the W as well. I think this team. Look, this is a very complete Louisville football team. I know a lot of people were surprised last season by Show and company just because they didn't know what to expect from this offense. But you have Show back. He's been playing lights out. That defense is ridiculous. You have a guy like Kory Brooks, who is a stud out there at receiver. I mean, there's going to be a lot of questions. I mean, there are already a lot of questions that Notre Dame has to answer. Are they ready for a potent offense like Louisville? And are they ready to, create something offensively through the air? I know we all know what Riley Leonard can do with his legs, of course. I mean, so far this season, he's had 6 touchdowns just by running the football. But passing, if Louisville makes him one-dimensional, which that's what they're definitely going to do, what are they going to have to do through the air to get them to move the sticks and get downfield to, potentially make the scores that they need to win this ball game. It's a tall task for Notre Dame. I know that they shouldn't be scared. They're playing at home, but this shouldn't be a game that they're taking lightly, because you already lost to a Northern Illinois team that you were heavily favored in. Yeah, you bounced back against Purdue, but you did have that game against Miami of Ohio where they kind of sunned you a little bit. So yeah, they're gonna have to have all hands on deck this week if they're gonna try to win this ball game. But overall, I am leaning towards Louisville being the bigger team to take out the Fighting Irish.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Cards 27-24. I really respect Notre Dame's defense. And I think Louisville will put up enough points to get the win. I just don't expect it to be a high-scoring affair. Just want to look and see what the over-under is for this matchup. If we have it real quick, Kory, let's see. Because it's I think the defenses will reign supreme in this one. So let's see, the over-under 46.5 points.
Okay. So even
Vegas,
they're looking at it being.
Vegas is very, very accurate. Now, that's why I say 27-24. It's right in that range. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a really good game. But I think the Cards, I think they find a way, man. They will find a way. It's a good Louisville team. I think they are honestly slept on nationally with the ranking that they have. Even though they come in at 15, I think they very well can find themselves in the playoff caliber kind of football team.
Yeah. Yeah, man. No, hey, I think you're right. I think this Louisville team is showcasing why they are the second best team in the ACC right now, behind Miami Hurricane. So I am leaning towards Louisville to win this ball game. I'm going to say 42-28. I think they'll win.
Oh, you think? Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. You see some more offense in this one.
I see a little bit more offense. Notre Dame is at home. I do think they have the opportunity to bust out a couple runs, of course, with Leonard and company. Can't forget about Jeremiah Love as well. I mean, he's a really good running back as also in college football. So I am leaning for them to score a little bit more than what we expect. But I think Louisville, I think they're just a little bit. They're going to be a little bit too much for that Fighting Irish defense. I think they're going to be playing fast and getting guys downfield to score as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, if Leonard continues to turn the ball over, fumble, and not make explosives with his arm, it can get out of hand. Mm-hmm. Louisville can capitalize. And Notre Dame will have to play good special teams ball as well. Louisville blocked the field goal, touchdown against Georgia Tech. So they'll have to bring it on all facets of the game, and the Cardinals will be ready, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So it's going to be a great ball game between two really talented teams, and yeah, we'll definitely see what happens in this game. So it's a 2:30 p.m. game on Peacock. So yeah, can't wait to watch it, man. But anything else you want to add to this game, Chris, before we move on to our last top game of the day?
No, sir. We can keep it moving.
All right. Well, from South Bend, we will now move to Penn State, where Penn State will be hosting Illinois is the Fighting Illini. This is another ranked versus ranked matchup, Chris. That who knew going into the season that Illinois was going to be this talented of a football team still in the Big Ten. Where this game happens just about every year. We normally don't see a team like Illinois. Coming out being like one of the top teams in college football, done in that number 19 ranking right there, is very well deserved for the Fighting Illini. So, this should be a big game, Chris. I can't wait to watch this one because I want to see more Luke Altmaier and that offense for Illinois. I want to see what they can do in order to, confuse the defense and kind of throw off Penn State's defense, who this season they've been playing very well, lights out, I should say. So I can't wait to watch what this offense does, what Brett Bielema has in store for James Franklin. And I also want to see more Drew Aller. I watched him earlier in the season, and he looked very, very, very good. And he's gotten even better as the weeks have progressed. I can tell. Mm-hmm. So this should be, this could be all the makings of a high-scoring game in the Big Ten for this week, Chris. But if I had to chalk up a winner before we look at that, let's look at the Vegas odds right now, Chris. Penn State is a 17.5 point favorite, and looks like the over/under is at 47.5. So it's getting up there in the point column, I should say. But maybe I'm going a little bit too far in the sun on how high scoring this game might become. But I do have that feeling that this game, if you throw out the game plans defensively for both teams, I think both teams can run it up on each other. So I am kind of keeping that little nugget in as a possibility in this ball game. But overall, I do see Vegas's thought process in Penn State winning this ball game. I think Drew Aller has been playing lights out. Nicholas Singleton, he's been playing very well. He has 37 carries, 314 yards, and 2 touchdowns this season. And I do see this team continuing to progress and being one of the best teams in the Big Ten. We'll see what happens going forward for Penn State, but I am going to lean towards Penn State winning this ball game overall. But I won't count out Fighting Illini too much. So I'm going to say Penn State 38. Illinois 28 in this game. Okay. So what are your thoughts?
That's not a bad score prediction at all. I think if we were to look at this game, just as is, like no outside stuff, just You just plug in the teams, the players, boom, boom, boom. Penn State should win, but I have a feeling, Kory. I had this same feeling last week when we were recording our show and discussing the Nebraska Illinois game. Just had a feeling about this Illinois team.
I got a fever.
Yes, I got a fever, and it requires more fight a lot. This team proved themselves with a huge win on the road against Nebraska, they will not be intimidated, I think, by this crowd in Happy Valley.
Mm-hmm.
That Nebraska game sold out, packed, night game, turned up. They touched the crowd. They left with the win in OT
They did.
against a really stout Nebraska team, which I think is one of the better defenses in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a great matchup to get you ready for a game like this against Penn State. Immediately, right before you play Penn State, you play a great Nebraska defense. Um, Drew Allar, I think, is a talented QB, very talented QB. I really like him. I understand why scouts are high on him when it comes to what he could do in the NFL. But I also think Luke Altmaier just kind of he has it. You know, he might not be as talented as Allar, but he has it. Um, this Illinois team is tested. They are feeling good. I think this just might be their year. And also, just be honest with you, Kory, James Franklin's the coach at Penn State. That really doesn't bode as a plus in my eyes, Kory. I'm not a big James Franklin guy, you know. And I think Illinois they find a way. Penn State's defense isn't the same defense it was last year. Still a very good group, but they aren't the defense they were last year. The offense is improved, but Illinois' defense is tough. They strap you up. Bunch of gamers on that side of the field. I think it's another doozy. I think Illinois finds a way to win. 31-28 on the road. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be sexy, but it will be a great game in my eyes. I think the Fighting Illini win. Yeah, and it's gonna cause some craziness in Happy Valley if that's the case because this should be the year that you make it to the playoff and you mess around and lose to Illinois. That's not what Penn State fans had in their cards in preseason. But I think that's what's gonna happen, man. I have a feeling about this Fighting Illini team, and I have questions about Penn State. I think this offense has improved, but it isn't as dynamic as I think it could be or should be. I think this defense is taking a step back despite still being a very good group. So I think Illinois finds a way.
Oh, nice. Hey, you're going for the juggler right here, Chris. You look. This is for all the marbles right here. Look, as a man that has his own betting segment, I would definitely keep that in mind, sir. I think the audience out there should also kind of keep that in mind as well. But in all honesty, if you're just looking at it from what you've seen the last couple of weeks on the field for Illinois, like this team, who knew that they were going to go to Nebraska and quiet that crowd down the way that they did, Chris? Like that was and get the win in overtime. You know, that's
Get the win.
it was gutsy.
You beat Kansas already this season as well.
Yeah.
They've passed every test.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's impossible to pass this Penn State test. I mean, Penn State is a really good team now, and they should win. Vegas has them favored for 17 and a half point favorites for a reason now. You know, Penn State ain't no slouch. It's a good team.
Mm-hmm.
But they have their flaws too. Can you know the Illini? Can Illinois expose them? We're going to find out. But I think they have the makings and the intangibles, and you can't put a number on the intangibles. You can't put a number on what Luke Altmaier brings to the table, Coach Bielema, and the battle tested, how battle tested of a coach he is, and the lumps and the L's he's taken on his journey to get to this point. It's it's all that in the stew, in the soup that makes a team have a special year that shouldn't have one, that you don't anticipate having one. So I think they have a really good chance of winning this game. I think they'll find a way. And I think Penn State might help them find a way too. You know, there might be some mistakes made by this Penn State team that Illinois will take advantage of.
Yeah, I like you said, you know, Brett Bielema, he's very good at drawing up like those ugly wins, you know, of course, you know, really throw you off your rockers. So, and if you're James Franklin, you should know that going in. So that's one of the reasons why, you know, I had mentioned about, you know, not taking this team lightly. Because you can't, you know,
don't do that.
You can't
Don't
do
that.
Yeah. I think they have all of the, you know, talent, and, you know, Brett Bielema's a very smart coach. I think they have a good game plan with them week to week where they're willing to, you know, make you make mistakes to their benefit, to their advantage. And you got to be watching out for that, because if you don't, you'll slip up, you know, being behind in this ball game, and, you know, a team like Illinois can really hurt you off of that. So, you know, they have a really good quarterback in Luke Altmaier. They have some good receivers. That offensive line does very well for the Fighting Illini as well. So, I definitely get where you're coming from, Chris. This is going to be this game might be the sleeper of the week, especially if Illinois comes out of this game with a victory. You know, being 5-0, potentially one win away from being bowl eligible. Like, man, who had that in the bingo card?
Nobody. Not unless you were in that locker room, or you know, you're a part of that staff. So, and you might even find some of them that would tell you they didn't even know they would get to this point. So I will be watching. We'll see how it plays out. I think it'll be a great game though. And this is for Penn State. This is a chance to put your foot on their neck and quiet people like me calling for the upset. You know, step up to the challenge. Prove yourself to be with the elite in the Big Ten, and cover the spread. Win by 3 touchdowns at home. That's what the old Penn State would do if a team like this walked into your home field on a high, feeling good, undefeated, and ranked. So we'll see what happens, but it makes for a fun matchup for sure.
It does. So I can't wait. This is going to be a fun matchup in the Big Ten. You know, 2 really good teams duking it out for Big Ten supremacy. So man, I can't wait. It's gonna be a fun one. But yeah, man, yeah, Chris. Anything else you want to add to this game before we move on to Bolton's bets?
No, sir. Nothing else to add to this one.
All right. Well, sir, I am going to leave it to you. I'm going to leave the floor to you. We're now at Bolton's bets. You know what time it is, folks, where Chris gives out his betting odds for the week. You know, that way you can put a little money in your pocket. You know, you take that trip that you've always been wanting to take. You know, take that time off. Get that PS5 Pro that, you know, maybe you lucked out on with the special edition, but maybe you can get the actual one.
Gotta get that 30th anniversary.
Yeah. Put a little money in your pocket. So yeah, Chris. Well, go ahead and let the good people know what games you have this week on the slate.
Yeah, so just a quick recap. Last week we made it do what it do, and we were 4-0. Miami covered against South Florida. Tennessee covered against Oklahoma. Ole Miss covered against Georgia Southern, and Texas covered against UL Monroe. Puts us at 14 2 for the season so far, Kory. Back-to-back weeks of undefeated, no losses. So if you parlayed all those plays, you were able to. We had family fed for the last couple of weeks. So we're trying to keep that going, and I have a 3-pack for you this week. So we're gonna start things off with the Friday game. That's right, Friday night football, not high school. Virginia Tech at number 7 Miami. The Canes, 17.5-point favorites. We're going back in that Miami well, and we're going to roll with the Canes to cover. Miami has looked incredible so far to start this season, Kory. They haven't disappointed at all. They have exceeded expectations. And Virginia Tech has not lived up to expectations. They have had their struggles. They were in a battle with they lost to Vandy. You know, they also have had their battles with other schools that we didn't really anticipate them having to struggle and beat. You know, they always seem like they get a tough game with ODU. Beat Marshall by 17, okay. But you turn around and lose to Rutgers. Not a bad loss. Rutgers, very underrated team, by the way. Yeah. So not a bad loss. Mm-hmm. But I just think Miami is way too much for Virginia Tech. And this game is also at Miami. So I expect the Canes to cover. Then keep things rolling. Noon Eastern time on Saturday, 11 a.m. Central. Kentucky at number 6 Ole Miss. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Kory. We're going back in that Ole Miss well. The Rebs, 16-point favorites against Kentucky. Kentucky's a talented team, I feel like. You know, a very good roster, good players on both sides of the ball. I just, this Ole Miss offense is dynamic.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that they are a generational offense just yet.
Still got a little bit to see.
The level of competition hasn't been there. Mm-hmm. But I expect them to display that they are one of the elite offenses, at least one of the elite offenses in college football this year. Mm-hmm. And so Kentucky has a good defense. That's Kentucky's strength. But their offense has been struggled all season long. And if they get 3 and outs and put Ole Miss in position to score with only 50-yard drives, 60-yard drives, and they don't have to drive the length of the field, I think Ole Miss will eventually pull away in this one. Also, being at home too will help. I expect Ole Miss to win by a few touchdowns. And it could get uglier, honestly, just depending on what Kentucky offense shows up. Because Ole Miss defense so far look really good. They haven't been tested yet, but we'll get a read on that here early on in the game. But I expect Ole Miss to pull away and win by at least a few TDs.
Yeah.
Then lastly, third game, our third pick. You already know where I'm going with this one, Kory.
Let's do it.
We're going to your neck of the woods. I hate to do it to our Bulldogs. Mississippi State at Texas. Texas 37.5-point favorites. This is my lock of all locks. We are both Bulldog alumnus, and we have watched more Mississippi State football than we might have cared to watch this season, based on how they've been playing.
I would agree with that.
This defense truly might be the worst Mississippi State defense to touch the field in the last 20 years.
They're pretty bad.
It's pretty bad, Kory. It's extremely bad. Even when Kroom was coaching, the defenses, you could count on one thing in the Kroom era, you could count on the defense.
Exactly.
This defense is bad. It is really bad. It's an embarrassment to be called an SEC defense, in my opinion. And buddy, they get to play Texas. It could be Quinn at quarterback. It could be Arch at quarterback. It could be you at quarterback. Mississippi State is finna catch it. Texas offense is elite. No matter who the signal caller is, this is a lot. And it's at Texas. I know Van Buren is getting the start from Mississippi State because he's a true freshman. Mississippi State starting quarterback had an injury to his shoulder, so he is out. It's going to be the Van Buren era is starting now. True freshman. Good luck. First ever start is at Texas against number one team in the nation. He might be a better talent because I think Van Buren is going to be a really good player when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a lot to ask for a true freshman.
You're right, man. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy who last year was a Under Armour All-American MVP. So he has a lot of talent, and you could see it a little bit last week. But yeah, this won't be the game if you're a Mississippi State fan to be watching, of course. But if you're trying to hit big, oh yeah.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I think it may sound crazy, but the spread might be what it is because he is playing. He does bring a level of talent, and Texas doesn't have any film on him. So that is an X factor in this matchup. If it just happens to be any closer than what we anticipate, that would be why. But I'm going to just lean on the side of knowing Texas has looked like the best team in the nation. And Sark is Sark. Quinn is Quinn. Arch is Arch. I think Texas should cover and honestly put a beat down on Mississippi State. Boy, that defense is pathetic. I can't emphasize enough how bad this Mississippi State defense is, Kory.
Oh, man. Look, if pathetic had an actual image description, it would be the Mississippi State defense. Oh, my gosh.
So, those are my three locks. A couple bonus plays. I'm not telling you to put this on this sheet because this is if you want to do parlays, those are my three plays, my three locks. But if you want to just do a little lotto slip and want a couple extra games to put on, Kansas State covering against Oklahoma State. We talked about that game earlier. I think K-State is in for a bounce back. And also, Illinois. You can take the points. I'm not telling you to go money line. Don't go crazy. Now, maybe do that if you want to do one solo bet. Just see if you can make a little something. Go money line then. But take the points. We don't want to ruin your parlay. We don't want to ruin your sheet. But maybe take Illinois in the 17.5 points and see how that game plays out.
Oh, yeah. It should be a good one. Yeah, man. That's a great slate this week that you gave us, Chris. Yeah, look, y'all, if you're not looking out for some of these big games this week to make a little extra bread, you got to go out there and do it. Give it a shot. If possible. But I think we got.
We're on a heater right now, Kory.
Yeah, yeah. We got some of our listeners on the show. They understand your expertise. So that's the reason why we do this every Friday, my brother.
Hey, what when you're playing? You remember the beer pong days?
Oh
yeah. Eating up. we hit 2 weeks in a row with heating up.
Yep.
We're gonna see.
Exactly.
We're gonna see what happens.
Exactly. So yeah, man. Yeah. So can't wait to see it this week and see what happens for a lot of these games and see what happens for you guys. Hopefully you can get a little bit extra cash in your pocket.
Extra cash. Christmas is coming soon. Eventually, go ahead and try to get you right, so you can get the kids a little something.
Right. Exactly, man. So yeah, man. Should be a big week, of course, Chris. But yeah, man. Can't wait to watch a lot of these games this Saturday. And yeah, we'll definitely be here on Monday discussing the week that was. But yeah, man. Outros, Chris, before we head out of here. I'll start off with you. Let the good people know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah. You find me on X at Chris_Bolton_12. And also you can find me on Instagram at Chris.Bolton_. Holla at your boy. Talking everything. College football, NFL football, fantasy football, all sports, baseball, basketball's around the corner. So get at your boy, holla at me.
Nice.
Yeah. Y'all can get the PSN too if you want smoking in college, NBA college football.
Look, we got that. Got 2K out. Look, we got it all. So
we got it all. So hey, just holler at me. We can make something straight.
Exactly. So yeah, for all our gamers out there that listen to the show. So yeah, that's awesome. Well, you can find me on X as well, at Listen to KSW, all one handle. I'm on there talking college football, of course, professional wrestling. We're getting ready for basketball soon, so I can't wait for that. So yeah, be sure to follow me on there. But yeah, Chris, great week of college football, week 5. We're already getting closer and closer to the middle of the season, and so we're really about to start seeing a lot of these teams go out on the field and kind of beat up on each other finally. So this is good. This is what we wait for every year in college football.
The level of competition is finally stepping up with conference play. Mm-hmm. So we'll finally continue to get a better read on these teams and either confirm how we feel about some of them, or we'll have to change our opinion about others.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, that's the most important thing about this time of the season. So yeah, man, it's great. Can't wait for another week of college football, and I know y'all out there are also excited as well. So yeah, but that's it for us, y'all. We appreciate y'all as always listening to the show. You know where to find us. Find us on many different streaming platforms out there. And feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the show as well. But until next time, I'm Kory Willis. He is Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. Peace.